Hey everybody, Scout Crafter here again on a beautiful January rainy day, 50 degrees above zero. You can't beat this. It's just a lovely day out. And we have a nice Billings wrench we're going to tackle. And this one's a little beat up, but we'll see what we can do with it. We're going to make it real nice. Let's go check it out. Okay, for today's project, we have this beautiful Billings and Spencer auto wrench or monkey wrench, depending on what you want to call it. But I have a real love for these wrenches. I have over 50 of them, and I really feel that for people that are just new to the channel, and welcome by the way, and for people that are looking to get into tool restorations, this is one tool you really should restore because it's just so much fun. Now this one here is a rough example of a Billings. You could see a lot of it. It has some wear, and you could see the Billings and Spencer markings here, and then you can also see on the handle, the handle's really beat up. You see that? And that's rough to get out. You know, you see all them dents and dings, and this was really wailed on and used on, and it's an older wrench, and so we're going to see what we can do with this wrench and hopefully get it back better than new. I'm really excited about this one. I want to do a really good job on this, so let's get to it. Now the first thing we're going to want to do is let's take it apart. Okay, disassembly was very easy on this wrench, but the first thing you have to look for whenever you see beading like this on the back of the wrench, you have to see if there's a bow to it or if it's bent. Now with my glasses, because I wear bottle bottom glasses, and they are they introduce a parallax to everything I look at. So what you have to do, what I do, is I take a straight edge, and a straight edge like this, and you put it up next to the wrench, and you can see if there's any kind of bend or anything to the wrench. And you can see when we're holding it up here, you can see we have a gap right in the middle there, so there is a bend. You see it's touching at the handle, and then that gap gets wider, so the bend is right about here, which is very common. So luckily we have a hydraulic press called the Dake, which is a fan favorite of the channel. So let's go over there and straighten this out. Okay, and here we have our Dake hydraulic press. This is a 10-ton bench model hydraulic press, and I have it on a old fish tank stand because they were very strong. Fish tank stands are meant to hold hundreds of pounds. Okay, we have a steel disc here, and that's just to take up the space in between. The Dake also comes with these type of discs you could use, but I have that big heavy steel disc, and I'll show you the setup we're going to use to straighten out the Billings. Okay, I have determined that the bend is right about in here. You can almost see it if you look really close, you know, and so we want to put pressure right about here. To do that, I'm putting plywood blocks under here. That'll take up some of the pressure, won't damage the back of the wrench. And not to damage the teeth, I'm just taking an old piece of scrap steel, and I'm going to put it here that's going to distribute the load over the teeth so it don't put any damage on any one tooth. And then we'll put it right where we think the bend is, and we'll add some pressure. Okay, here's our setup in the Dake. We're all ready to go. This is vertical. We don't want it cocked either way, tilted, because if it does, it could snap, slip out. Again, the pressure comes down. You don't have to worry about this shooting the product out, but I always try to hold it on one hand or something just to make sure if it starts to move, I could feel it. Secondly, we're going to add some pressure. You're going to see this bow down a little bit, and the plywood will give a little bit, and that's what we want. And I'm adding pressure now, and we're up to, that's 1 ton. 1 ton of pressure. This type of metal is pretty malleable. It's made to bend. You could hear the plywood starting to snap a little bit under the weight, under the on cracking. We're at 1.5 tons now, and we got to keep pressing down until we see this here starting to bend the other way. So we'll just give it a little bit more. You could hear it. It's cracking more, the plywood, and again, that's going to help that it won't slip out. And we're at a little over 2 tons now. A little bit more pressure, and you'll start to see it's really now the plywood is really starting to compress, and hopefully we're at almost 3 tons, and right there's 3 tons. We're going to take a look at the wrench and see what it looks like. Okay, because this bend is so close to the head here, we put a piece of steel in here because we're going to have to put too much pressure. It's just going to crack through all the wood. So we're going to press down here, look for the bottom here. This is where the bow is, and look for that to straighten out as we're pressing down. Okay, we're at 2 tons there. Again, we're putting some, now you can see it's starting to bow. I could see it myself. We're at 3 tons. That's 3 tons. And we're at 3.5 tons. You could start to see it's straightening out on the bottom. And now we're at 4 tons. 4 tons, I'm going to take a look at it. Watch it spring back as we loosen up the pressure. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, looks like we have the wrench pretty straight now. You can see we hold it up next to the straight edge and it's very straight. So we're good to go. Now we're going to take it to the wire brush and get to cleaning this up. Okay, here we are at a mid wire brush evaluation. You can see we did everything came out nice. You got all the rust out of there. This came from the factory black. This was black in here, painted black from the factory. I saw some of the black paint as it was coming off, and so now you can see what it looks like. We got most of the rust off. Everything is looking pretty decent. Now we're gonna have to work on this jaw a little bit. Just, you know, this is a little bit flanged over there, you could see. Work on that jaw, and then we're gonna have to clean out the inside of that using these round wire brushes, and also clean out the inside of here, that little hole, using Q-tips and solvent and things like that. Get that nice and clean, and then we'll polish up the pin after we sand down everything, so everything's coming good. Savings event here. Okay, here's our pre-paint evaluation. Buffing's all done, everything's nice, and we want to paint this. We're going to paint the inside here. Took everything down, washed everything in detergent, and now we're going to wipe it down with denatured alcohol, make sure there's absolutely no grease in here. For the inside of here, we cleaned everything out. Now we're going to shellac the inside of this area because it helps it slide up and down, and plus it'll prevent any rust. And we also polished the pin. The pin is all polished and ready to go in. This is a 1/4 by 20 thread in case you ever find one of these that's missing the pin. And of course the knurling comes out nice always. So let's get started on that. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this wrench looked like before we started. And we are calling this project done. Look how nice this came out, huh? Now take a good look at the paint in here. Now, I liked the forge. I'm not crazy about forging marks on the outside. As you can see, we took them all out. But I do like the texture of the forging in the inside, and I wanted to keep that with this. But the problem is that paint would fill in a lot of those lines. So while I'm talking about this, think about what kind of finish I used to get that look. And I didn't want a glossy look because I didn't want to take it away from the shine of the wrench. So I wanted it kind of semi-gloss. Came out exactly the way I wanted. Doesn't that look nice? It looks like almost like a leathery type finish. The top here we did in black too, and obviously left us a little top here nice and shiny. Everything here, we left this kind of a finish of, so it wouldn't get too fingerprinty, you know, just a little bit of a satiny like, but polished around here. This is all mirror polish. It's just a beautiful wrench. Works like a charm. You can see with the lettering, took the lettering off. Okay, did you guess what we used for the paint? You ain't gonna believe it. This is what we used. Yeah, that's right, magic marker. Okay, we filled it in with all magic marker. We wiped the top of the lettering off with lacquer thinner. That instantly dissolves magic marker. And then to protect it, because you know, if in case you get grease, oil, or you just wipe it down, we sprayed everything with a, I use Deft, I like that, but it's a clear, it's a wood finish, but all it is a spray lacquer. And this is a semi-gloss spray lacquer, so that protects it, and now that's good. What a great system that is to keep. I mean, that opens up a world of possibilities, doesn't it? But remember the back of the wrench here? Remember all the dings and the dents and everything? Look at that. Remember, look at that shine back here. If you feel this wrench, it is just beautiful. Now, the worst part is that this wrench, originally, remember I said that the inside was black? Well, after doing some research, I realized that the whole wrench came black. And what a shame that is, huh? Look at this beautiful wrench, and it had the whole, even the knurl, the thumb wheel was painted black. What a botchery on this wrench. But Billings and Spencer, Charles Billings and Christopher Spencer, they started the company 1869. They started the company called the Roper Sporting Arms. They used to make firearms, and especially Billings, he was really good with a lot of the drop forging process. So he was so good, and they made a lot of different tools. Now, this wrench here was made between 1915 1926. So I don't know what year it was made actually, but it's almost, I got to be 100 years old, this wrench. And you could see that all the paint did wear off, except for a little bit that was left in here. But what a travesty to paint this whole wrench black, right? Especially how nice this looks. Anyway, let's give it a try in a wrench test to see how it works. Now, as you know, I am a huge fan of the auto wrench. Everything is lubricated. Now, because it was all waxed and polished, it only takes 1 drop of oil to get this smooth as silk. But I'm a huge fan of the auto wrench. The thing is that I don't really get a chance to use them much. In fact, I could probably count the times I use the auto wrench on one hand. You know, it's a wrench I don't usually get to use, but it is such a cool wrench, and as a collector, I mean, and it works so well. I mean, just a beautiful wrench, isn't it? And works like the day it was new. So in closing, we have our 100-year-old Billings and Spencer auto wrench, and Model G. This is 11 inches. They also had an 8-inch model, but it looked a little bit different. If you get your hands on one of these or any other auto wrench, you need to restore one. It's just such a beautiful wrench to have in your collection. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks so much, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.